Be seated. We have gathered here today to be light, to share light, and to shed light onto the week ahead, covering April the 3rd to April the 10th of 2023. I am going to make this bigger for you guys throughout, so don't worry about that. I'm calling this week times they are A-Changin. I've used that before for big moments of change and shifting around, and this is a prelude to even more of that statement being supported to be very correct. This week we have a full moon in Libra. That's going to be the last full moon before eclipses. We're technically already in eclipse season because eclipses can be active, a few weeks before and after the season. So this is just going to bring that even more to a head in a really big, vivid way. We also have the sun conjuncting Chiron all week this week. It'll fade and taper off by the end of the week, but we're basically going to be feeling it the entire week. And then we have Mercury squaring Pluto most of the week. It's hot and vivid right now on Monday as we're live streaming this, and then it will separate, it'll taper off, but into the full moon. So when you have a full moon and there's something coming together, there's an aspect coming together, that's an applying aspect, and then when they are done, they are separating. So they call it separating an aspect. So that's another thing that we're going to be feeling the rest, not just the rest of the week, but because it's part of the full moon in Libra, the entire full moon is going to have this coloration of a separating energy. And I'll give the interpretation of the Mercury square Pluto soon. So, yeah, I don't go live super often anymore, but make sure that you are subscribed and that you have toggled the notification bell if you want to know when I do. It's usually quite random. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the occultist witchy week that we have ahead. Let me start with today, Monday the 3rd of April. This is when we have Mercury entering the sign of Taurus. Happy Mercury in Taurus. Immediately after Mercury enters Taurus, they will form a very tense, harsh, visceral, vivid connection with Pluto, which is an intense and visceral energy source, recently newly entered into Aquarius. And we have the moon in Virgo today, trining over to Uranus and Venus in Taurus. So Mercury ingressing into Taurus, first and foremost, is going to be a longer influence than a normal Mercury transit. Mercury zips through signs in a few weeks. This one's going to be different because we're going to have a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Taurus. It's okay. It's really okay. Because we had a Mercury retrograde in Taurus last year in the spring of 2022. And that was after we had a really romantic, synchronistic lovers dance with Mars and Venus when they were conjuncting in Capricorn, and then they went together into the sign of Aquarius. And then, later on we had the Mercury retrograde in Taurus, and that one was really gnarly. That was configured up with the eclipses, but it was also tied up with the fixed star Algol, which is sort of heinous, sort of heinous of an energy, because it's just like, just think of an image of a stack, or like in 300 with the wall of corpses. It's just like grotesque and decay, and it's like liking comic books that are very grotesque, and an affinity for rotting, decaying things. It's quite gnarly. So this Mercury retrograde in Taurus is nothing like that. So you already lived through it last year. You're already okay. So it's not like a really big deal. I'm not picking up anything like, it's a normal, Mercury retrogrades 3 to 4 times a year. So it's going to be something that you need to go back and take a look at, but the degrees are not going to hit algol. So the TLDR, assets that store value. That's what you want to think. You want to think about the assets that you have in your life that store value, that generate value, that produce okay, so whether that's finances is the easiest and the most clearest, whether it's financial, whether it's assets and resources, physicality, energy-wise, having more power, building up muscles and strength, or whether it's confidence in your physical body, in your sexuality, in your, physical aptitude, whatever that happens to be. We're going to be thinking about these themes intuitively because this is an earth sign mixed with healthy rationale and rationality. So we're going to be realistic. We're not going to be able to fool ourselves into thinking that this asset is a great store of value or that this is going to be a great investment. The Mercury retrograde, in fact, will do the exact opposite and reveal to you and dig up where you may have either overlooked something or done something wrong or incorrectly or followed an incorrect line or path of strategy. And that's the thing with Mercury retrograde, is that you really do want to pay attention to the most annoying things that come up, or the most cumbersome, the things that you don't want to think about or deal with are going to be the things that come up, and that's why. So you don't have to try hard with Mercury retrograde. Let things come up as they are trying to come up, because it's trying to show you where you're being inefficient, where you are choosing the wrong investments, or where you have, an asset or something that's like not a good store of value. I'm gonna keep this very personal. This is, occultist mass is in session, and it's about the individual. Everyone's an individual, and that's what I'm here to support. So we have this Mercury in Taurus, we have Uranus and Venus in Taurus, the nodes are in Taurus for a little bit longer, so there's quite this emphasis in the Taurus area of life, and you're going to be thinking about it more and more. It gets that adrenaline shot, that, Pulp Fiction adrenaline shot, or the epinephrine, I think it's the EpiPen, whatever, Nora Ephron. So when it enters into Taurus, it makes an immediate square to this Pluto. Do you like our little digital astrolabe? I'm gonna make it better. I'm gonna tweak it, but I love our little woodcut astrolabe. So making the square over to Pluto in Aquarius. So you're going to be thinking, one thing that I can say that'll be true for everyone is that you will be thinking very intensely about something, maybe even reconciling two different things, maybe trying to fit pieces together that don't fit, and you're trying to force it to fit, you're trying to make yourself make sense of it. I wish if everyone had this kind of obsession, or this kind of extremely focused, intense, pulsating concentration that people have on this kind of energy about their boyfriend, who's cheating, what they're doing with their money, are they still addicted to this substance, what are they giving money to their family instead of their first family, is it did they take that trip, or did they pay so and so back, like all of that kind of trying to pierce in and peek behind and get into the, if people apply that same level of intensity of focus to strengthening their spiritual muscles, this entire society, evolutionarily speaking, that would be significant for humans. Anyway, so you're feeling this very intense, you're trying to figure something out. So this doesn't have to be that dramatic as the examples that I've outlined. This can simply be, for instance, so I'm a moon in Aquarius, and yeah, Pluto's conjuncting is going to be going back and forth over my moon. I can't believe that I even survived Pluto in going over all of my Capricorn stellium. So, you know, heaven help all of us who have late Capricorn, early Aquarius placements. But for me, you know, you might just go down an Amazon rabbit hole of, you know, I was looking at these acrylic trays and I was looking at these like home things. So but like, you know, if you could be very intense about like, I'm gonna redecorate this room, and I'm gonna, you know, mentally you might take all the furniture out of it and you're like, okay, how can I make it the best room? How could I have the most fun in this room? Or how can I, you know, if it's a guest bedroom, if it's your daughter's bedroom, if it's your son's just getting into something, you know, how are you gonna make it the best, the ultimate experience? And then you start getting into the details of all of that. Like, okay, I want to line all of the walls with tape dispensers and ribbon dispensers, and, you know, I want whatever it is, you know, it's like you can use it that way. But this can definitely, because we have this Taurus vibe, it's probably going to be either aesthetic, like I just explained, you know, aesthetic, decorative, you know, visually pleasing, or even like artistic choices. You might think, okay, I'm going to do this mural and I'm going to do it this way, or I'm going to incorporate these colors, or it's going to be, you know, X, Y, and Z. And there can be people could fight for creative control with the square to Pluto and Aquarius. Maybe different aesthetic choices or different ideas of what's beautiful, of what's pleasing. Then there's also the finances, the financial part of it. So you could be doing your taxes, you could be trying to figure out, you could be balancing your budget, you could be, you know, trying to make new space or hold space for some kind of, you know, maybe, here's the thing, you can't, especially if this is financial, like the numbers don't lie. You can't force an investment. Okay, that's a sunken cost fallacy. This is fallacious thinking, where because you made an investment, you keep investing in it even if it's losing money because you want it to be successful. That's a sunken cost fallacy. So I feel like this Mercury-Pluto square is going to burst a lot of bubbles and break a lot of, like, shatter a lot of cognitive dissonance where we've been doing that, where we've been saying like, oh yeah, this is cool, I like this is what I want, this is the aesthetic that I want, this is the look that I want, this is the investment that I want, this is, or even physically, like Taurus people are like physically very beautiful, because they're like very earthy. So, you know, maybe I'm not saying that Tauruses are slow, but like if they're slow getting a joke or something, like a Gemini would be all up on it. But, you know, it's like their physiques, they have like a groundedness to that. So it could even be where you decide that something doesn't physically feel good anymore, or you realize that your physical. So I get chocolate chip cookies like all it's like, I live on chocolate chip cookies. Okay, I recently found that one of the brands that I buy Tate's chocolate chip cookies, I buy Matt's chocolate chip cookies. Matt's has this flavor where it's like double chocolate. So like sometimes I like that too. You know, that's very Taurus too, is like dark chocolate, like, you know, like deep, rich, thick, intense, bold, rich flavors. So, you know, it can be a little bit too intense for some people that like want something like lighter and fruitier, but like I feel like earth signs would be like dark chocolate. So what feels good physically might change. You might feel like, oh my god, like I want double chocolate. Or you might think, I think I'm just gonna do some yogurt and fruit. You know, maybe you do like a different ambrosia salad where you don't do the ambrosia salad with one ingredient. Maybe you use different ingredients, a vegan ambrosia salad or something like that. So, but there's something like strong arming about this. There's something Yes, welcome, welcome. There's some spots of the pews in front. There's because of this Pluto part, it's strong-armed. There's something that's really got a hold of our imaginations because this is Mercury, but something that's also like we can't ignore it. Mercury square Pluto is like getting underneath those dirty fingernails and putting it under a microscope. Like, where have you been digging? You know, or of a crime scene. It's just this intense, obsessive focus, trying to, you know, turning over the rock and seeing all the little buggies and little insects and things. It's concealed clues where you're combing a crime scene, you know, you're Sam Spade and you're like, this is clean, and it's like, no, there's always pre-incident indicators to violence. There's always red flags. There's always proof. We're in a material world. There's always traces. There's always elements. There's always something. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? You know, it could be really like, no, I know what I know. Where is the proof? And so that's where we get into the crazy part of this Mercury Pluto, because it could be paranoia, where you think that there's something there and you feel like you know it in your gut, and it's like there's nothing. But because it's the reverse. It's because you want there to be something that you're like, you know, you're going like, it's overkill. So balance is not there at the beginning of the week mentally. So Mercury is going to be retrograde. Let me give you the dates. So Mercury enters shadow on Thursday. We're going to talk about that, but Mercury stations retrograde on the 20th of April. The 𝚬𝚘 with the sun retrograde is the 1st of May. Stations direct May 14th with the eclipse, and then exits shadow May 30th to the 31st, and then Mercury enters Gemini June the 11th. So I was looking at this week ahead, and I needed a short break from MH370. You guys count your lucky stars that you are not born with a Mercury square Pluto, because that energy is imprinted into your character and into your life. So whenever it gets activated, something activates it, then you just get all like that again about something. I'm born with the Mercury square Pluto. I've talked a lot about it in videos. So, you know, it's really an intense focus. So like, I can't pull myself away from something that I'm obsessed about, even if I tried, you know. So I stop. Oh, that's right, I do it. I stop, you know, eating. I lose track of like time, and my bones hurt because I've been in like one position for hours on end, or I don't realize that I have to go to the bathroom, or like I should brush my teeth, or I should turn the lights off and go to bed. Like, I think there's so many things in my chart that has this loss of time feeling to it. This is one where, and I think this is part of why it's part of what's helped and hindered my telekinesis, by the way. Being able to focus that intensely and singular, this is about singular focus, can help and hinder. So this is great energy in the beginning of the week if you need to get out of an abusive relationship, if you need to plot your escape and get out of a toxic situation, if you need to accurately assess what is valuable and not valuable, what is storing value, not storing value, what is generating positive self-esteem, good touches, positive feelings, happiness, financial prosperity, and what is not, or what you're trying to force to work well, or what you're trying to, you know, Sherlock Holmes. It is. Yeah, it is. So having the discernment about you to know when you're trying to use your evidence to suit your theories, instead of theories to suit what the facts are saying. Like, let the facts lead. and if you don't overreact to the facts, you know, so like it all comes down to like, can you trust your mind? Can you trust your judgment? Can you, you know, because this can be also like a manipulative energy, a very like mind controlling type energy, you know, like it's just really, it's just like starting this Mercury transit to Taurus with such a bang. You know, so you'll feel it though. You'll feel like what physically doesn't feel good. You'll feel like the aesthetic is just off. You'll feel like you just need to change something. So, you know, this is powerful for reformation. And this whole week is powerful for reformation and strong realizations. This full moon in Libra is the last one before eclipse season, and we're going to be moving eclipses, the eclipse cycle, into different signs. So that's going to be a big spearheading change in all of our lives that happens every year and a half, but it's pretty momentous, especially because these are happening in cardinal signs. So even if the eclipses are not in one of your angles, like your first house, fourth house, seventh house, or 10th house, because it's a cardinal sign, like it's still going to be pretty rocky. Like even if you have like this Gemini ascendant, even if you have that, you know, Aries in your 11th house, there's going to be some big wheel turning times. They are a-changin happenings with your friends, with your, you know, social groups and stuff like that. So I can talk about Mercury square Pluto forever, but we have to move on because people's legs are falling asleep. Ooh. Moon in Virgo also trines over to Uranus and Venus in Taurus, so circumstances turn up, surprising details, circumstances of the day, surprises, unexpected things, and maybe happy surprises, but it doesn't have to be happy surprises. I mean, you know, Uranus and Venus is like, it's just not what you expect. So that's the thing. These outer planets are just so, honestly, you guys, I don't know if I'm looking forward to talking about these Aries Libra eclipses for the next year and a half, being like a Capricorn with a Cancer rising. Like, I don't know if I'm necessarily excited about that. Anyway, so yeah, circumstances of the day, go with the flow, showing you something, letting things turn up what they're trying to turn up. So you have like this probing energy in the Aquarius and Taurus areas of your life. You're really thinking about something, or maybe you're processing a big experience. You know, for me, I have to go back and forth between processing and meditating, processing and meditating, processing and meditating, and that takes time. So this is going to be detrimental. Monday will be detrimental, and it'll feel very stressful if you don't give yourself time to process. And you know, we say to meditate. So when I say meditate, I define it as shutting down stimulation to all of your senses so that your sixth sense can wake up. You know, think of like an extra appendage that you're trying to like send energy to and move it around, like, you know, another limb or a tail or something. So that's your sixth sense. That's your psychic ability. And all of the things that we do and that we teach with psychokinesis, telekinesis, remote viewing, astral travel, lucid dreaming, all of those things are exercises that exercise the spiritual muscle. Let's move on. Tuesday. I wish I could play music. I wonder if it'll do the thing. Let me see. I better not mess with it. I better not. All right, here we are, April 4th on Tuesday. Only thing on Tuesday is so the moon's in Libra now, and like we're technically like in full moon territory. It trines over to Pluto in Aquarius. So here's the interesting thing. Like, you have a Mercury square Pluto this week. So this whole week you're going to be like, you know, really figuring out, like, am I going to commit to this wallpaper? I am. I'm like, how do, like, now, like, everything jumps out at me of like what I want to improve So, you know, it'll be like that. It'll be like, oh my God, like this is an eyesore. Oh my God, I need to do this. Or, oh my God, I need to change that up. Or, oh my God, you know. So that's all week. Tuesday, the moon trining to Pluto. Heaven help us. Heaven help us all. Okay, moon trining Pluto. Partners, so romantic partners, business partners, creative collaborators, whatever, two people. Partners. Taking united action. I'm just kidding. Taking united act. I'm trying to make it look like, does that look stupid? Probably. Taking united action, something. Oh, sorry, I skipped it. Partners taking united action to change something at a core level, to reform. So something that's already there, we already made this pact, we're going to change it now. It's the reformation of this business, of this relationship, of this school, of this whatever, to reform and improve it, or to start architecting something new. Yeah, new partners. You know, it's like, okay, you know, this is where circumstances are sort of pointing to, is transformation of the relationship, of partnerships, of, you know, maybe you own a business and you have your employees, and you normally don't say things or comment on what you see, but maybe you feel more, whatever, you're more responsible, or you're more empowered, or you just start thinking about it out of nowhere all of a sudden. Maybe this is your Pluto in Aquarius mind speaking, where you're saying, I'm gonna take more of a leadership role over and influence customer service, not just my employees to my customers, but I'm going to prioritize customer service between my employees themselves, so that they expect and that they receive a higher level of quality, energy, and lived experience and quality of life when they do this work, when we're all working together. And so, okay, this is, now we're going to incorporate some new thing that we all do together to promote camaraderie, togetherness. Remember, Pluto in Aquarius is all about the empowerment of groups. I'm so interested and excited, because who organizes themselves the best out of the groups of people that there can be? If it were Saw, if you, or Identity, and you woke up in a metal room with a bunch of other people, what do you think would be the common thing that brought you all there? Not that you all have the birthday of May 8th or whatever that happened to be, but like, what would that be? How, and like, would that group be, this is how I think. I'm a Mercury Pluto person, so it's unsolved mysteries in my mind 24/7. If you're all in that room, what's that common thing that connects all of you? Maybe you find out, oh my God, you're a comedy writer, I'm a comedy writer, we're all comedy writers, oh my God, who's trying to kill all the comedy writers? You know, maybe it's whatever. But the point that I'm trying to make so inarticulately is, would you all be able to work together and save your lives and get out? That's how I'm thinking about this Pluto in Aquarius. So I think about whatever I see in the news, in the media, online, whatever comes across my desk, whatever comes across in my attention, I think about them locked in a room, you know, like a serial killer room, and I'm thinking, would they be able to work together and get out? Would they be able to outsmart the serial killer together and save everyone, you know, save the day? Because whoever works the best together is going to be very empowered and receive financing, receive awards, accolades, public approval, public support, or large scale, this is like big money support. So all of you, for instance, Sagittariuses, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs, since 2008, financially, a lot of you guys became millionaires or multimillionaires, or you have had just dramatically upended, revolutionized your value systems, your self-esteem, your finances, everything. And you know, you're like wrapping that up from this year to next year. And then it's going to be Capricorns that get that kind of treatment. But, you know, it's like big wealth, big money. So Pluto in Aquarius is going to have, you know, groups of people funded. So it doesn't mean that they work together the best. They can still, you know, collapse. But, you know, power is the ability to do something. Okay? So the power, do you have the ability to X, Y, and Z? So whatever those groups want to do, they may have the ability to do something, but it doesn't mean they have, like, it's not like absolute power. Okay? Okay. Anyway, so Tuesday is a great day for changing and transforming partnerships and elevating existing relationships to a deeper level. Okay, so Saturn was just in Aquarius for the last 2.5 years. So think about the seriousness since December 2020. The first year not so serious because we had Jupiter there helping out, because Pluto is going to deepen these themes and deepen these lessons and deepen all of it. So new partners, new partnerships. This would be like if you're getting to know someone and you like where this is going, you're getting to know each other, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take the next, we're gonna go a little deeper, we're going to be a little bit more committed, we're going to be more, I'm transforming the way we know each other into a different way of knowing each other, something like that. Oops. Wednesday. I can't believe I spent like 30 minutes on 2 days. We're gonna zip through the rest of this. Wednesday, the 5th of April. Oh, we have the full moon. So now we're at the full moon. I shouldn't have ate up all that time. It's Mercury, Pluto. So the full moon in Libra, beautiful. It's a pretty decent full moon. It's whatever. So we have Saturn in Pisces trining the South Node in Scorpio. So how I'm seeing this is disposing, you know how you have like batteries that they say like you can't just like throw them in the garbage, you have to like take them to a facility and like carefully and responsibly dispose of these like batteries because of the acids and stuff. It's like that, like Saturn, and like last week with Saturn and Mars and the South Node, and as we come into this week and this full moon, I feel like we are disposing of things, like we're taking out the trash like responsibly. So it's not like a careless chucking away of things that no longer serve us. It's very carefully saying, okay, I see that this is expired. Okay, now we have to set in motion the protocols, Saturn, the protocols of disposing of this acid battery so that it's properly discarded. So, you know, whatever that is, that's that. We also have the Sun conjuncting Chiron all week this week. For me, that just kills the week. That just shoots it all down. And I'm sorry guys, but it's Pluto on my moon. I'm gonna be, heaven help me. So look at that, look at, ew. So Sun conjuncting Chiron, this is like you have a father and a son. The son is really excited, he's like 8 or 9, 10. Goes up to his dad and asks, Dad, how do I make a lot of money? How do I want to make a lot of money when I grow up. I want to be so rich. I want to just like be able to do anything that I want. I don't want to work. I just want to have a lot of money. How do I make a lot of money? How do I grow really rich? And the dad sort of being like taken aback and sort of saying, I don't know, son. And here's the thing. The Sun Chiron with this full moon, which is going to put a big reflective light onto that, you're gonna go one of two ways this week. You're gonna be the dad that says, you know, I don't know, son, but let me ask some of my friends and see what they come up with. Or let me ask some guys at work, or let me connect you with that family member that's done it, or let's go to the library and we'll ask the librarian, you know, where do kids start learning about investing? What are some kids' books about money and money management and growing rich? And she'll get she or he, not like all librarians have to be women, will get some books for you, and, you know, or, you know, find a course online for kids and I'll buy it for you. Or that's one way to take with this. The other decision is the dad says, you know what, why would you want to do that? Shames his son, belittles his desire, squashes his ambition or his will to be independent, because it's making him aware of some internal wound that he didn't figure it out, or couldn't figure it out, or tried and failed a lot and gave up, or achieved it and then lost it in some horrible disaster, or fumbled it in a bad relationship, or whatever that story is, or never thought about it and doesn't care. Whatever the story is, he could project that onto his son and say, and shame the son. The boy is totally innocent, has no idea that the dad had a whole life before him. As far as that little boy is concerned, when he was born, the whole world came with him. Shames him, puts him down. Now that wound is that little boy's wound. Masculine wound. Okay? So you're only responsible for your energy, your choices. You own, okay? So just whatever this is, wherever it's coming up, where you feel vulnerable or insecure, or like lacking confidence, like feeling like I can't do this, I can't, in the Aries area of life, I can't be independent, or I can't leave this relationship, or I can't be a professional whatever, or I can't finish my classes, or I can't, you know, whatever it is. You're going to be, it's a relationship, it's a person that's going to make you see that about yourself, and it's going to be both ways. It's like an individualistic wound where it's like, oh, I can't be an individual, I can't go off and do my own thing, or, you know, maybe it's like, oh, my brother already did that, I don't want him to think I'm copying him, or my mother was this super big success and I don't feel like I can even like hold a candle to what she can do, or, you know, whatever it is, it's got like that vibe this week. So you have the choice though to, you know, give yourself some love, to hold space and do your subliminal self work and be more healing, and maybe help someone with something that you couldn't do, or, you know, something like that. Or you can take the other way and you can be all, you know, Grinch ass about it and really shitty about it. Or you're going to see people being that way, that, you know, they don't like that you are, I don't know, whatever. You could be braver. This is all Aries stuff. You could be braver. You could be more optimistic. You could be younger. You could be stronger. You could be younger and wiser and stronger and faster and taller and like all of the whatevers, like, but they're just going to feel that. The other side's just going to feel the inadequacy, and we're all going to feel the inadequacy in the Aries area. And that full moon in Libra could bring a person to help. Like, it'll be someone that says, oh my God, no one ever taught you how to read, and you're an adult. I'm going to teach you how to read, and we're going to read together, and I'm going to have you read the newspaper to me. I'm going to have you read whatever to me, because I enjoy your company, but I want you to read to me, and I want you to know how to read. You know, it could be a person that kind of comes in a very healing, teachery type of a mentorish way, or it could be a person or a relationship that just shows you like, oh my God, this is like it's toxic. It's codependent. This person doesn't want to be independent. They just want this coddling. Or someone doesn't want to try really hard. They just want the credit for trying really hard. Or, you know, so the sun also conjuncts Jupiter, which is, you've got the challenge is to let yourself grow up and into a greater confidence. Positively. Negatively, that sun Jupiter can go grandiose. And it's an overcompensation for that lack. It's that father that just has like an overreaction and just starts putting it down. Putting it down, putting it down. That's grandiose. It's really big. It's really over the top. It's like a big false flag. It's a big distraction. It's a big, you know, look over here what I'm doing over here. Look at me yelling. Look at me being mad. Look at me blowing my top off. And let's ignore like the real thing, the pain underneath it, you know. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Libra. The ruler of this full moon is Venus. Venus is in Taurus, but sextiling over to Neptune in Pisces. So that's nice. I would normally never, I wouldn't talk about that because it's just a little sextile and these planets are like, but anyway, it's ultimately, this full moon is ultimately about hope and healing in relationships. So you can either have that awkward moment and move through it and change. In case something about this is going to make everyone just obsessively think about something and try to like figure this out. You know, maybe you're like, oh my God, I have to stop investing in this thing, or oh my God, I have to, you know, reconcile something, you know. Or people are going to go grandiose and try to control and try to shame and belittle people, you know. So it should be pretty clear like what's going down in the relationships. On the relationship front this week, people will either be, you know, equal. This is about balance. Full moon in Libra is about balance and equality in relationships. So you might feel like you need to, you might feel like you have something to put more into or to take out of, and you may really feel like it's a very sharp focus of the relationships where you do get an equal give and take, and that could make you feel like, wow, I never had that before. Wow, you know, or the opposite. So let's move on. Thursday the 6th of April, we have, oh, good. So really the only thing on Thursday, we're still like in the full moon like all week this week. And this is a prelude, you know, since a couple weeks ago with the new moon in Aries, and now this full moon in Libra, and then we're gonna have you know, it's just, we're gonna have a lot more of this. So these months, like March, April, May, June, like this is the hottest time of 2023. It's just like a lot of exhausting changes, and you know, it's very, I just don't like this week because it's just so painful. I think it's just fucking give it up. Enough already. All right, Thursday, Mercury enters shadow. It's not that bad. It's not going to be with alcohol, but nevertheless, I'm going to be rethinking. That's what this means, is that I'm going to be like, Natalie, why did you say that? I'm just kidding. Thursday the 6th, Mercury enters shadow, goes retrograde on the 20th, Ksimi's the 1st of May, goes direct May 14th, exits the shadow the 30th, 31st of May, enters Gemini June the 11th. So we're really looking at April 6th to June 11th, dealing with stuff in the Taurus area of life, rethinking, rehashing, reshaping, shedding light, and organizing. You know, it's like having a crate full of stuff, and if you just dump the crate out, it's a bunch of random things, but if you unpack things from the crate one by one and you know where they go, then you have a story, you have something you're building, you know, you have something. So you're like taking everything out of your purse, you're dumping your purse out, cleaning out the purse. This is from Amelie. And then because it's so true, it feels so good. And then you put things back in your purse one by one, and it's, yay, it's better. So that's basically gonna start, what day are we on? Thursday. Thank you. Thursday. So that's another thing. I would say just relax with Mercury, with all of this stuff. This is why I say give yourself permission to be as happy as possible, as soon as possible, because the lessons or the delays or the loss or the grief or the obstacles, the spiritual learning, all of that stuff comes up. And when you go through that stuff, when you go through your ego deaths, when you process, when you meditate, when you move through very difficult energy and you come out the other end, if you do it, if you're very sincere that you do want to grow, and you don't have like the cognitive dissonance that all of this that you praying or you studying astrology or you doing yoga is helping you force life to do what you want it to do or manipulate better how you want things to go. You know, if that kind of ego death happens, if you have a very sincere desire to grow and evolve spiritually, and you really, that's why I started saying, like, we have gathered here today to be the light, to share light and to shed light onto this week, because it has to be a very sincere desire for that. I don't want anything that I have to manipulate to keep. You want truth, you want love, you want honesty, you want integrity, you want what's real. Then you'll be okay. Because when you come up against your ego deaths, when you come up against your cognitive dissonance, you have to choose love over ego. You have your ego death. And that's why I'm talking about those two reactions with the Father and the Son. Because people are going to go one way or the other. They're going to choose their ego, and they're going to, coerce and all that, or they're going to choose love. And they're going to be accepting and open, and they're going to have more tolerance, hold more space. So Mercury retrograde, things are going to come up. Things are going to come up for you to deal with, to sort through, to think about, to rethink about, to change your perspective on. And I just want you to try and enjoy the little moments, the smallest moments of purity and happiness and fulfillment and peace. Like, don't take any of them for granted. Because when you do move through all the stuff, you will always realize, I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have been happier. I wish I would have dealt with this so I could have been happier sooner. So I could have been whatever sooner, or had this sooner, or felt this way longer. So that's why I'm saying, like, be happy where you are right now. Let yourself be as happy as possible, as if you can climb up that hill, okay? And then just enjoy it. Enjoy what you have. Enjoy who you are. The other stuff's going to come up. You'll deal with it. You'll move through it. And you will have that moment like, oh, I wish I would have confronted my fears sooner. But no, like, we're just not ready. These eclipses that we're changing into, we haven't had eclipses in cardinal signs since like 2018, 2019, 2020 in Cancer Capricorn. Like, I feel like I'm still like, whoa, so like, here we go again, those kinds of changes, structural. Dear God, am I gonna really talk about this for the next year and a half? So like, there's Thursday. Oh, we're not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad at all. Friday, the 7th of April, we have the moon crossing the south node in Scorpio, trining over to Saturn in Pisces. This is such a sad little week, man. Venus in Taurus sextiles Neptune in Pisces. I take that back. It's not going to be sad for everybody. Mercury in Taurus sextiles Mars in Cancer. So the moon crossing the south node on Friday, again, it's responsibly taking out the trash. The moon in Scorpio is going to cross the south node, and we're going to feel the flush. We're going to see the flush. We're going to circumstances and people, and the daily things, the things that come up like during the day on Friday, we're gonna clock it and we're gonna say, okay, that you know, or seeing, let's like seeing behavior in a child. Maybe you didn't know that they were really stressing about something, but then you see behavior on Friday that is telling you like they're stressed about this, and it's manifesting, it's expressing itself, and I really we need to nip that in the bud. We need to, you know, delete that. We need to delete that. So I mean, it's good for, because you have the trine to Saturn in Pisces, so you'll be able to like figure it out. You'll be able to figure it out. Venus sextiling Neptune. This is part of the full moon it's applying, so there's an intuitively clear message. This entire week there is, so try to lean into the light, lean into the meditative, healing, calming quality. You know, when realizations wash over you, new understandings come in, that's what awakening, woke means, is when you're sitting there thinking a relationship is a certain way, and then the realization or an understanding washes over you and you see it in a very different way. You've awakened into a new understanding, but everything has stayed the same. It's just you and your consciousness that has changed. That happens over and over on little cycles, in little ways, you know, in your messing with your astrology program or your writing program. You're in final draft and you're like, I didn't know that I can do a character list. Cool. You know, so you've awakened into a new feature in final draft. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but this entire week, Venus, Neptune, it's like that, happening in little cycles and layers this entire week, and over the full moon for the next couple weeks, the intuitively clear message. And here's a hint, it'll be calm. The truth will be a calm truth. The understanding will be a calm understanding. I got makeup in my eyes, so if they're like red, that's why. Yeah, I was trying to do, you can't really like, anyway, so the realizations should be calm. The messages should be very calm and meditative. Okay. Mercury sextiling Mars in Cancer, knowing what to do. You might know what to do, or you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. You will make the battle plan. Saturday, the 8th of April. We have the moon in Scorpio opposing, oh, that's what I was going to say. Oh man. I wish I can't edit this, but let's pretend like I'm in Thursday talking about Mercury and Taurus. So I had to take a break from the MH370, like a mental health break, but I have other ideas that I'm writing that I'm starting. And then when Mercury stations retrograde on the 20th of April, I'm going to go back to the projects that I started. So I'm going to take like 3 projects. Well, I have 2 more projects. I'm gonna take 2 more projects and get them going and do like a lot of beginning initiatory work on them while everything is direct still. So I'm gonna start a bunch of stuff, and then when we get to Mercury retrograde, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna write them, rewrite them, structure them, re-break them, you know, whatever it is, and make them better. So there's that. Back to Saturday. Moon in Scorpio opposes Uranus and Taurus. This strikes me. This one strikes me a lot. We also have the moon in Scorpio trining Neptune in Pisces. So the moon opposing Uranus, Scorpio, Taurus, what I saw losing your grip immediately, subconsciously, where you don't even realize that you went to pick up a cup, that the cap wasn't secured and it just falls out from under you. Or you go to pick up a glass and you don't realize that it was just washed and it still has water on it and it just slips right through your fingers. That's what I get with this. This is like a fast, it's happening. I say subconsciously because it's like it's happening before you know it's happening. Poof, it's gone, you know. Now the moon trining to Neptune, that's making it very deep in the feelings. So like maybe you drop your bagel cream cheese side down on the sidewalk, and maybe it was like your last, maybe you're running on like 20 hours of sleep. I did not sleep well. It's another reason why I feel like my so And we have so much work to do today. Deep. Oh yeah, so maybe you're running on like 0 hours, 3 hours of sleep, and you drop your bagel cream cheese side down, and it's like a fresh hot bagel, and you stood in line for like 40 minutes to get this bagel because your person puts extra cream cheese on it just the way you like it, and they're like really good like homemade, like really great bagels. And you're so tired and you're so hungry, or at the airport, and you drop your bagel cream cheese side down and you just lose your mind, you know, and you just like break down in tears. Like that could be a watershed moment, or you drop your bagel and you cry about it. That's perfect with the moon opposing Uranus and then moon trining Neptune. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Sunday the 9th of April, we have the moon now in Sagittarius squaring over to Saturn in Pisces. That is just so... yeah, I will make this bigger for you guys. Okay, so the moon in Sag squaring... moon Saturn is never fun. That's very moon in Capricorn energy, which is very... dutiful, very, very dutiful. But this is like people arguing about God, you know, debating God. But because it's the moon, you're projecting like your own comfortable boundaries to protect your mental health, to protect your you know, your own beliefs. You are like really... you may be coming up against some difficult things to reconcile when it comes to your beliefs about maybe what you're responsible for and what you're not responsible for, and having like arguments about that, and arguing with the world and other people and whoever is like just not in your belief system. They don't subscribe to the same thing you believe. They're like, you should wake up at 7 a.m. or you're nothing, you know? And you're like, dude, I get really creative at 3 a.m. Like, who are you to say that because I'm not in the 5 a.m. club that I'm not producing something of output value, you know? So honestly, guys, by the way, this woodcut, this is a 17th century woodcut. And it is, these women are representing nature, and they are arguing with scholars, these tight ass, Grinch ass, grouch asses over there with the funny hats, about the influence of astrology and the stars upon human life. 17th century. So like, what am I saying? Don't argue. Let it go. Like, people have been arguing since the 17th century about this. Like, I'm not going to stand there on this. I'm going to be practicing it over here. I'm going to be using it. You know what I'm saying? So this is our little astrologer and his little astrolabe and his little study. This is where we are. We have books. We have wands. We have all the knowledge. This is the occult. Okay. So, I would say, you know, like what I offer is, God, there's a lot to do today. But like what I offer is a very, like, I feel like it's a very bougie, very like, when you guys book readings with me, like that is very, that like what we do, it's very much like in these times reserved for like upper class, which is really weird because it's like, they're either super low on the totem pole, like beneath actors and performers, or they're like advisors to the royalty, you know, occultists, like people like me. So just do your own thing, and like let Saturn and Pisces show you how you need to mature your own beliefs or your own, you know, thing. So, you know, there's the argument with that other person, like, hey, I don't have to be in the 5 a.m. club. I'm really creative at 6 p.m., whatever. but then don't lie to yourself about that. So maybe you're falling asleep and you're waking up early naturally. Don't try to force yourself to stay up late just because maybe you're like, oh my god, 3 a.m. is like the witching hour, I need to stay up at 3 a.m. If that's not like really producing results, don't worry about it. Sleep through, wake up whenever you wake up or whatever. So that's all I'll say about that. Let's take a look at your tarot, and I'm going to keep us in this little, we're just going to pull one card because we're on a very tight time deadline. So we're just going to give us one meditation from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guidebook. Ooh. And there's 3. Okay, we have the rabbit, we have the horse, and we have the black egg. I don't really want to read all 3. We're just going to read the black egg. Maybe we'll read one more. Maybe we'll read okay, we'll read all of them. We'll read them all. Because that's what you got. It's the honest thing to do. Black egg, speaking from an authentic voice, the truth. Let me just so you guys can see the full thing. Black egg. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies. Not even the white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in, books draw us in, the concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself? And what is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It's also why I started this with the light stuff. It is available at every moment in every situation. It's the epicenter of truth, the birthplace of our voice. The black egg and the 5th chakra. The subtle essence of this card resides at the base of the throat, at the Vishuddha or Vishuddha chakra. The ancient sages saw this center as the hub that governs our speech and expression. Vishuddha or Vishuddha translates as especially pure. The balance of this center is important for all of us, but is especially essential for writers, musicians, editors, and teachers. It's also what makes me a writer is that Mercury, Pluto is like I can write like right. Okay. So that's like the special one because it's the circle on top, and these other 2 are both of the same element, the rabbit and the horse, which is kind of interesting. Very much reinforcing the earth element. Okay, the rabbit. Afraid of everything, overwhelmed, frozen, the rabbit loves to remind his friends that someday the eagle will swoop down and eat him. He talks and talks and talks about it, so loudly in fact, that one day the eagle hears and thanks him for the great idea. Rabbit energy is alive when we are scared, most often about the future, and we become our own worst enemy. We spin up a dust cloud of fear and then complain to others that we are lost. Notice your thoughts and words, O rabbit, they shape your destiny. When you are in balance, you are sensitive, you're a problem solver, you're a good listener. When you are out of balance, you over-explain and you talk fast. To bring yourself back into balance, a day of silence. That's cool. The little rabbit. Okay, last but not least, we have the horse. momentum, freedom, expansive energy, and force. The horse represents the most masterful form of earth energy within the deck. It provides us with momentum so reliable, so supportive, that you can ride on its back toward any goal, no matter how difficult the terrain. A horse personality is fully awakened, fully alive, and cannot be defeated. The horse's freedom becomes available to us when we hone and collect our energy through daily practice. Daily practice. Physical stamina, exercise, and mental focus, meditation, are the secret weapons behind the horse's legacy. When you're in balance, you achieve anything. You never give up. When you're out of balance, you run away. You feel weak. To bring yourself back into balance, strength training. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so do you see the story? Do you see the story? I see the story. Do you see the story? The story is that being super tweaking out about the sky falling or whatever, freaking yourself out, you'll feel better when you get a good healthy dose of the truth, take it down, really meet it honestly and maturely and bravely. Let the truth change your life, and you become strong like the horse. And you feel like you can achieve anything, like you can do anything, like you can just go out there and just do what you got to do. But it's the voice of truth. It's so these like spiritual concierge services that I offer, that astrologers offer, tarot readers, psychics, I feel like it's very bougie. It's very like, because you can do that yourself. Like you can do all of that yourself. And that's why I love to teach. I love to teach all this stuff because it shares power. And I'm a good Capricorn. So a good Capricorn will share power. They will empower you. The bad Capricorns take power away. They gatekeep. They keep everything to themselves. They're like stingy, greedy, Grinch ass, grouch ass, corporate psychopathic freaks. Okay, but the good Capricorn opens up knowledge, shares power, wants to empower you, wants to see everyone empowered, spiritual heights of the mountain. Okay, so it means, like in the Hermit card, that you can, if you're, like I said, if you have that sincere desire, if you really sincerely, if you're very sincere, then life teaches you self-mastery and you grow into becoming that solid, like the way, like the solidness that you see me with self-mastery and coming into telekinesis. And oh, I was gonna do the, okay, so I can't decide if I want to keep the live demos on TikTok or if I want to like do that here on YouTube as well. I'll keep thinking about it. But you can access communication to your higher self, to your spirit guides, your ancestors, people that have passed on, pets that have passed on, like all of that stuff. That's what this black egg is saying, is that that truth, that light is always there for you to reconnect to it. So that's why I started this off by saying, be the light. If you have a true, sincere desire to stay in the light, no matter how scary life gets, you're like, I'm holding on to the light. My Manly P. Hall quote about darkness being freaking everywhere and that you are the light in the darkness. So it's not about seeking. What is initiation? It's knowledge. It's when you and that's why Capricorn, it's so important to share power and to share the knowledge. So when that becomes shared with you, when you connect, when you reconnect and you get your downloads, you are initiated because you have the knowledge, that first person perspective experience. So, you know, that's why I say, like, you know, our readings, our mentorships, all of that, it helps to support you guys. But just know that it's always my focus and my hope that you guys will that I'll make more, that you guys will be remote viewers, that you guys will do your tarot readings for yourself in the mornings, that you guys will read and intuitively understand tarot, or astrology, or whatever you're guided towards. If you love crystals and you use crystals in your work, and you do magic with your tinctures or your herbs or your whatever it happens to be, whatever you connect to, that's your individual unique connection. But it's always there, it's always available. So don't just, like, this rabbit energy is like despair, like the sky is falling. So if this is you, or if this is somebody else this week for you, there's a truth, like an inception, there's a truth locked away. No, but it's right in front of you. I tell my hierophants and high priestesses that, like, all of the magic, all of the wonder, all of the big things and the occurrences, it's all within an arm's length of you. You don't have to, like, go to a magical place on earth. You don't have to go anywhere. It's with you, where you're sitting, wherever you are. Okay, for you to access. That's what the black egg is saying. It's like, you reconnect, though. It's a free will choice, and that's why the power of singularity, the power of single-minded focus, is immeasurably beneficial if you can harness it. So if you're born with a Mercury Pluto, okay, or even any kind of compulsive kind of energy, compulsively thinking about something, or that's a potential, but you'll have to really wrestle with yourself so that you can use your own energy. I'm telling you, when you come through these things, you're going to be the horse, and you're going to wish that you did it sooner. You're going to wish that you overcame your fears sooner, so you could be in this new position longer, that you could have been happier longer, you didn't have to hate yourself for so long, or you didn't have to be so, whatever it is, whatever it happens to be, okay? But it's you reconnecting. So I'm going to recommend that you try yourself with yourself, okay? And only if you are getting more lost, or if you're getting more convoluted, or more scared, or more confused, then reach out to someone like me, or someone like an astrologer, or a tarot, someone you connect with, to help get you to that, though, okay? But first, try it yourself. Try listening for that truth, that quiet truth, calm. It's gonna be a calm, meditative energy on you, and that's the difference between intuition and anxiety. Anxiety freaks you out. If you're trying to worry and prepare for something, that's anxiety. If you have, like, a quiet knowing, that's the intuition. Even if the quiet knowing is about something bad or scary, you might have a quiet knowing that your grandmother is going to come out of a coma tomorrow morning, after being in a coma for 6 months. You might have a quiet knowing that your uncle's going to pass away in a week from now. You might have a quiet knowing, you know what I'm saying? But that's the difference between being anxious that someone's going to die, or being anxious that something bad's going to happen, and having the intuitive message, the download. And this is what I teach people, is to feel the difference between anxiety, fear, download, message from this, message from that, so that you can memorize them like programming buttons on a board, and that you know what's happening with you. But it takes a lot of self-awareness. I'm not going to digress. I hope that you guys are having a great week. Take very good care. I will check in on you guys in a few days to see how we'll do a welfare check. We'll have occultist mass again. And until that time, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings.